And come on. Welcome, everybody, to today's episode here on Wisdom Cafe of Meet the Expert. This is episode 19.
20.
My name is Bob Choat. I'm the co-host, along with my beautiful co-host, Sofie Nubani, who's the queen of laughter and wisdom. Sofie, how are you doing there on the East Coast?
It's
Florida.
actually raining as we speak, so we're
Oh,
having
really?
all this entertainment. We have a sunny day and we have a little rain there for all the trees to get some good wash and all the buildings to be clean. So it's beautiful.
So I know that there on the East Coast, it's now nighttime because it's daytime here still, and it's still sunny, and it's been warm, sunny and warm, and beach weather and everything else. So kind of enjoying the rays when I go outside and everything. And I want to get to our guest who comes from up north, not North California and not northern United States. So our guest, her name is Dr. Cynthia Stone. And Dr. Stone, she also holds a master's degree in social work, a bachelor's in science, and she has a multitude of experiences with her own life, besides all the different trainings from being a life coach to NLP practitioner. She's also been a mastermind facilitator and so much more.
A relationship guru.
A relationship guru. She's also really put herself out there in terms of wanting to help people. She's been part of the mission where she has gone to the ghettos in Guyana and so much more in terms of really taking her learnings, but yet her passion to really making a difference. She's also the author of the upcoming book, From Empty to Plenty: How to Design Your Destiny. She's been a celebrity speaker, right? In fact, she still is, where she's done multitude events. And I checked on her background, and where she's also done plenty of movies, TV shows, and so much more, including I believe, and she'll tell me about Lovebirds because, in fact, I have Netflix. So, yeah. So, Cynthia,
Yes.
who hails from Toronto, Canada, thank you and welcome here on Meet the Expert here on Wisdom Cafe.
Love it. Thank you so much for having me, Bob and Sofie. It's wonderful to be here, and it's truly a credit to the Canarican connection, if you will.
Yes.
I wanna welcome Cynthia personally as well, and looking at a few of your work, and I remember being connected through a mutual friend that's dear to heart, and Billy James, and it was like instant. He goes, like he figured that we're gonna like each other's energies or personalities, and he was spot on, literally, and it was such an honor and pleasure to have you on our show and to share your expertise, your insights, your life journey. I mean, to where what got you to where you're at, and how you're able to actually accomplish all these amazing things. And truly, it's things of service, of humanly service, and many are really thriving to be in that space. And by nature, they want to help, but not a lot of people get to accomplish results, and you have. And we are so happy to have you share you with us. And I want to welcome you again and tell you, from a woman to a woman, that I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. You make us all look good, and blessings.
Blessings. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
So regarding Lovebirds and some of these other shows, so is that is that one of the films that you were in?
Lovebirds. I mean, it sounds
Lovebirds.
great. I mean, I know that
Yeah.
I've done a plethora of work. I'm trying to recall Lovebirds. It's possible. It's not ringing a
It's possible.
bell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I definitely feel like there's a lot of lovebirds in my midst, being a relationship guru.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So I know that you've done a lot of different things
Yeah.
within your own life, and it's just when I look at the extent of the diversity. So it's not just one area. It's not just in acting or your background in social work or any of these other things. In fact, I believe I'm trying to think. Mrs. Jones, you
Yeah.
recognize? Yeah, got it. That was the one I was thinking about. And the plethora of work. So what is it about Cynthia that has brought this out in terms of of your why of going and engaging from helping people to acting to uh, and when I say helping, not just as a life coach, but also volunteering your efforts to help others. What is it about all those things that makes Cynthia who she is?
That's a great question. I think that it would probably stem back from my upbringing, like seeing how my parents were. My mom was always very loving, like going out of her way to help her friends when they were in times of trouble. Usually friends tend to pull away like, oh, okay, they're going through some bad stuff. Don't want to deal with that, but I'm here in the good times. But she was like the opposite, which was pretty cool. And then my dad, at a time where he was going to be a minister, and the church was really coming down on terms of homosexuality, and he had been working in a post office at this point, and he was surrounded by individuals that were persuaded in that capacity, and he just felt compassion for everyone. And so at one point he was hit on, and rather than be like, this is wrong, a sin or whatever, he wrote the guy a letter, and it was very heartfelt, and the man was like so like blown away that he cried. He was like, thank you. Nobody ever treated me like that. So I think that they really instilled a lot of like beautiful lessons about compassion and love. And I always felt like a huge desire to serve. I just wanted to make this world a better place in any way I could. And I always had these huge like moments where I would walk into a room and like if somebody's like feeling in pain, I would feel the pain. And later on I found out that that's called an empath and all this stuff, but I had no idea. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I really want to do something. Like obviously I have a big heart for a reason. And so I ended up like going into community work to like serve the homeless. Cause I'm like, I want to work with the people that nobody wants to work with, and working with them, like I just poured so much love, so much, like desire to see them just rise up, but you can't want it more than they want it for themselves. Right. So I was just like at a point where I ended up coming home every night and I was just crying, like just like brokenhearted because I couldn't, you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Right. So I was just like, throwing my hands up to the higher power and saying, where am I supposed to be? Because I feel like this is not my destiny. And interestingly enough, the following day, I ended up going back to the ghettos to help the homeless and started hearing from them like, what are you doing here? You should be in Hollywood. I'm like, what? That's so random. Like, why would the homeless tell me that I should be in Hollywood? But then I noticed like I would go and do humanitarian work in Guyana and like post Hurricane Katrina. And they'd always put me on TV. They're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, very strange, but there was a recurring pattern. And I realized like, okay, well, obviously there's something I'm missing here. Maybe I should just step into it. And I ended up answering an ad on like Kijiji, which is like a Craigslist here. And it ended up springboarding to my first infomercial, which was broadcast nationally. And it was just like, wow, it just like happened instantly like that. And then, of course, hearing from other actors, you can't make a living this way and starving artists and all this. But yeah, that's actually what prompted the whole thing. So inside of me has always been the desire to serve. And then I was kind of led on this path, like, okay, well, I guess I'm supposed to be doing acting, but it's not exactly what I thought I would do. But life has a way of happening, and it's not always what you expect. So it's just about enjoying the ride, you know?
Being
Yes.
aware and conscious about the messages you receive and taking action, which is what you did.
Yeah.
And I think what fueled it is that it came out of love, because where it came from is somebody you gave hand to and served. And in return, the universe, God, and your angels, everybody wanted to give you back from who you served the message, because you gave them that much love, and they were meant to open your eyes to where you needed to try and be, you see?
That's beautiful. Thank you. I never.
Yes. Which is really interesting, because you also do NLP, and I know that a lot of people in the entertainment industry have also delved into both hypnosis and NLP and things like that.
Yes.
I remember one of my friends in the past, so he was actually an NLP trainer, and prior to that, back in the 80s, he was in a popular group. It was a popular worldwide singing group. Gosh, I can't even. So his name was Joe Leeway, and gosh, what was that group? Oh gosh, I can't even think of it. It'll come to me. But have you found that same thing? Because now you've been in the entertainment industry as an actress,
Yes.
and I don't know what genre of acting, because you seem to have some comedy in you as well.
Oh yeah, big time. It's not.
Yeah.
Coming out with this, yeah, like.
That's good.
See, Sofie. See,
Woo!
Sofie.
Yes.
Sofie. We got somebody here, right? For the Laughter Mindset program. Yep.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
point the opposite way, Sofie. So you have to point in. See this?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. See that? There you go. See, now it's coming across.
Okay.
So yeah. So this girl right here, whoop, my finger jabbed her through her head. So perfect for the Laughter Mindset.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's medicine. You gotta like.
I should have worn my red nose. Doggone it.
I know. To match my red dress, at least somebody will match me. Other than my lipstick.
That's right. Lady in red.
So Cynthia's all ready for Second City.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love Second City. I remember I went there for New Year's, and then they pulled me up on stage. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. All the
Yes.
girls were discovered there. Yeah. Wow.
In fact, I have a book called up here, Yes and.
Oh yeah. That's one of their fun games. Yes, and.
Yes and. Yep. Yep.
That's so cool.
So
Wow.
expanding on your own background and everything, you currently still do acting, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, there was a question there, and I think I was going to get to it, and then we got like all happy and.
Got it.
Okay, so yes, the acting is still very much with me. Well, obviously in quarantine, it's limited. We're not going for too many auditions these days, but definitely.
Well, you do it here. You do it in social media. Create your own little one person acts.
The Quarantine Chronicles, starting with little Finn. CYM. But yeah, that would be fun. Why not? You're right. I mean, I feel like a one-person act half the time. But yeah, I definitely like feel like a lot of my friends are like reaching out. They're like, we're doing something. This is happening. So yeah, that's all coming down the pipeline. And I feel like, that's never going to leave me. Like no matter what I'm doing, I never want to stop that. It's such a cathartic release too. Like whatever you're doing, you just pour yourself into it and you feel yourself, bringing the script alive and the characters.
Yes.
I finally have an outlet for all of this weird energy I have. So
Good, yeah. Good distraction, especially if you have a passion to it.
yes.
And if you do the roles that you enjoy and you love, and then what I really noticed, no matter what is going on and how much technology is going, entertainment is always going to be a base and necessity for many people. In fact, it is so refreshing to find an entertainer who's enlightened, because they everybody wants to be entertained. They don't want to be enlightened. So if we can bring entertainment and enlighten people through entertainment while they're learning, it's fun. Now they're more open, their senses, they're able to receive and understand and comprehend the messages a lot better. And to just see that, you're so young and beautiful, and you're in that space, and have a sense of humor like that, it's just really uplifting, and it's so nice for us to see. And we pray that more people become in that kind of spirit, and that's the joy within you that you carry. And I think your parents definitely had an amazing installed in you those kind of good seeds, because you come from like a very positive and loving background. I had the same. I grew up in a very loving home, and my parents loved and respected each other a lot, and they loved to help so many people, beyond my understanding of how they were able to help that many people, having 4 kids of their own and still managing all that. So I have a lot of respect, and to see you become that woman that they're so proud of all the things that you've accomplished and are serving and doing is really cool. Yes. So, what age did you start acting? Like in your teens?
Yeah, let me see. When was my first big break? Was oh my gosh, I have to check now. Okay. All right, so I have it in YouTube here, but I'm trying to think. I think it's been about 11 years. 11 years, and so that would have made me 29. Ooh, I just dated myself. Oh,
that's fine, but I'm just look at that, so that also is encouraging for anybody listening. There is not a specific time, because a lot of people think you got to be like 5 years old and you got to start auditioning for commercials and beauty pageants and everything else. So that's a very good inspiration, actually, that you actually shared with us, because every season of your life demands different roles, and you were ready to take up that, and you're enjoying it.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome. I can't wait till you produce all your movies and help a lot of these actors also perform in a style of, having good messages and content that can help many people.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So we know about acting and what you do. What is your own personal mission, if you were to look at the whole thing? What really drives you?
I'd say that my prime motivation is just really to help people get out of their own way, because I've noticed that like from the homeless to people in quarantine suffering from depression and addictions, aversion, all these things, it all comes down to having a loving relationship with yourself. I always say that if you're in a room by yourself and you're miserable, that means you're not in good company. And that is a huge epidemic, because I find that people are not happy with themselves. Like deep down, they've let themselves down. They've broken promises to themselves. They haven't forgiven themselves. They're carrying guilt. They're just not recognizing that we're all under construction, and every one of us has a gift to share with the world, or multiple gifts. And it's just about uncovering those and just walking that path of faith. It's all about taking that first step, even if you don't see the full staircase. And I just want to help to inspire and help people to break through their limiting beliefs and really step into having a life that they love, because they're worthy. They deserve it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Do you feel that people are their own worst critic?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like, it's not so much about the external bullies, it's the internal bullies. And whatever you're saying to yourself internally is nowhere near going, like anybody outside of you is not going to be able to match that. You're always worse to yourself. So if you're trapped in like domestic violence, God forbid, it's usually because you're so nasty to yourself that is acceptable. but that deep down you believe you deserve that. And so it's just like once you step into that worthiness and you're like, you know what? Silence that inner critic. You know, that's not, if I wanted to hear from an arse, I'd fart. That's what I always say.
That was a good one.
There it is.
There you go.
You might be helping some cancer patients if you do that. You know that?
Really?
Scientifically, the smell, remember, it's actually very helpful, and it helps recover internal your cells. Everything is created for a reason, including the nasty smells and what we think they are. They're actually good for our recovery and building our immune system.
Ooh, well, there you go. Fart away.
Fart away. Oh my gosh.
That's right. Smell you later. You may not be very popular on your date, but that's okay. You're in isolation. You don't need to worry.
Ooh, if you guys can smell me now. Oh my gosh.
But no, but it's true. I mean, when you know, when we can be truly open, everything, like, I don't understand why people are embarrassed and ashamed about things that are natural and they're normal and they're part of who we are, and understanding the benefit and what it is good for. It makes you look at it in a different way, because you would be like more valuing something that you might have been either disgusted from or laughed at or so. But I think that's ignorance, because you're just not educated enough to understand what it's really doing, to really understand the benefit and the reason why it was created. There is a purpose of everything, calculated with much intelligence than we ever can imagine or understand to our own ability. And once we tap into that openness, intellectual openness, we are going to be so much dealing with things in a different way. And you know what? Most likely we won't have wars, because it's a miscommunication, misunderstanding. You're right, I'm wrong. It's just a perception of how the other person is viewing it, or how they're understanding it. And yeah. So I just wanted to put that out, because I know that a lot of people are not aware. We're not turning this into a party show.
There you go. Wow.
But I just wanted to, because literally when I was reading, I was very amazed. And that was about a year ago. And I just realized how all these years I was so ignorant. And, I would be like, if somebody doesn't, like, oh my God, they have no manners. Why can't, you think about these things, because that's what we've been taught. And that's the right thing to do based on what we were taught, not knowing that could have saved somebody's life who's actually sick.
Yes. Flatulence, the key to life.
Yes, it's true. It's exactly that. Yeah. So off that.
Okay, let's get on with the show, Sofie. We've been kind of stinky so far, so let's get going. Let's Second City, here we all three come.
But Cynthia, you are a relationship guru, and I wanted to ask you this, based on your experience. How does it feel when you're opening these people up? Like, how do you really feel, and how does that motivate you?
Oh, wow. I love that. I think that it's almost like a flower, and it's like waiting for their season. Like you plant the seeds, and then you're giving it all this light, all of this love, all this attention, and then the blooming, and then the openness. Because I feel like throughout our life, we should have a mind like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Yes. And our heart as well. Once if I can be a part of someone's inward journey, it's just so beautiful, because I think a lot of us go through life and we're not conscious, we're just like automatons or zombies, going through life and just reacting. And when you're able to open up and live consciously, it's so incredible to see that moment where they're like, their eyes are open and they're just like experiencing the bliss, and then hearing from them later and just hearing all that they've accomplished. And oh, it's just, there's no greater reward just to know that you help someone with themselves. Yeah.
Wow. So, talking about that, do you have what was like a common denominator that you felt with people that are having troubled relationship? I mean, we know that there's different people have different, circumstances and situations, but based on your experience as a coach and expert in your field, because you are a relationship guru, I wanted to know, what would you say that you noticed because now we're talking two people, we're not talking one person. So I can be responsible, accountable to my actions more than being for both people, right? So now you're dealing with two people. What was something that you noticed, like repeated more often than others in a troubled relationship, the cause of it?
I would say that it all comes back to self. Like, even when we get involved with other people, it comes down to this. Like, if you are in a blissful, happy state and you feel completely in your zone, you have healed a lot of past hurts, then when somebody comes along and they do something that irritates you, you're not as likely to get triggered. You're more in your state of bliss. But if you are in a situation where you are constantly under, review, like we're constantly buffering, we're under construction, basically. And so a lot of times what happens is the person we're with is pushing our buttons and we're being triggered. And we're like, okay, I can't stand this anymore. And then we're ready to walk away because you know what? It's painful. It's painful to face those parts of ourselves that we have repressed, that we don't want to look at. The thing about unconditional love and acceptance, we say that we love other people, but most of us haven't even learned to love ourselves. And you can only love another person as much as you love yourself. So when you can find that you can just accept what is and be like, you know what? My body isn't the way I want it, but I still love it. My mind is, not as sharp as I would like it to be, but I still love it. My, whatever it happens to be, like we all have our areas. And if you can start cultivating that love and acceptance for yourself, then whatever comes along, it doesn't matter. You're not triggered. But what I found is that deep down, we haven't dealt with our own stuff. And because of that, the other person, who is this beautiful teacher, is not being looked upon as their teacher. They're being looked upon as their enemy. And when the ego gets involved, what happens is it goes into that like overprotective mother mode, I call it, where it's trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you safe. Oh, okay, this is painful. You want to step away from this. You don't want to be in this relationship. It's no good. You need to be alone because it wants you to be alone. It wants you to be miserable. And the key is just to step into your heart and recognize that, you know what, the only way through this to it is through it. And if I want to have a truly happy existence, then I have to work with my own internal world and then my external world, people, everything. I won't be triggered in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very good. In fact, recently I had a false alarm in my house, and the cops came. Because you never know if it was real or not. So you just be safe. So they took a little while because of all the pandemic. So they said they were busy. And then I asked him, I said, what is busy what? Because remember, I live in this area. I'm like, oh, what's going on? What are you busy at here? I mean, I had a false alarm, like what's going on, right? And what he was saying, he said what they're most busy about, unfortunately, during this period, was domestic violence. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. So being an expert and a guru in relationship, obviously, because this is happening and we are in a COVID-19 craziness, people are handling different things in different ways. And we understand there's pressure. Some people have kids in the house and they have to homeschool them now. They don't even know how to deal with all these changes, and they still have to do work from home. So I can understand how people can be a little bit tired and exhausted, that it's not even them acting out of anything but exhaustion. But what would you recommend during a pandemic to, decrease such things? And what can couples really do at home that would help them?
Absolutely. I mean, you definitely speak to a hot button issue, and I've certainly seen an escalation in it. Really, what I work with couples to do is to recognize, and appreciate each other's triggers. Like, we'll often give each other, notification, like, I'm getting to that point, and sometimes, we don't want to acknowledge that saturation point. We still just want to push and just want to get that final word. And that is, it's about being proactive. It's about recognizing, what they're at, this space and time. And when we can exercise that compassion, recognize that hurt people, and that they are in a world of hurt, and that there is love there, and really tapping into that love. Like, why did I get with them in the first place? Like, what is that about? And when you can come to it from that place and have like that understanding and almost see that inner child in that other person, recognizing that, it's really hard to get space, obviously, when you're in this isolation. But if you are able to go to another room, if you are able to go outside and just give each other space, really what it comes down to is we need to be patient with ourselves and each other. That this has actually throttled, society as a whole. Like, we're losing our livelihood. For men specifically, I've noticed a great deal of depression because now they're not able to provide the way they once were. They don't know what to do anymore. They've always been the guy that goes to work, and now all of a sudden they can't even do that. So we really have to understand that there are a lot of psychosocial factors to really step into our heart, to see the signs, to have patience, to recognize that we're all learning here. Like, we've never gone through anything like this. It does require, like, I'll do a lot of couples work, and just hear from both sides. Often what's happening is we're not communicating to the effect that we could. We have two.
I just was gonna, that's exactly so true, because I remember when I had, any issues with people in conflict.
Yeah.
My old suggestion was to describe their anger instead of yell at each other. That will smooth things down and allow the other person to understand. And it's not about communication, but it's about comprehension. So if you're just communicating and the other person is not comprehending, we're not having any results. But you really love what you said about the warning and the trigger. Today we were at a webinar, and Miss Pat Rogers, I noticed something about her. Whenever she wants to tell you something that is real into her deep story, she goes, I'm gonna go all the way in. Now, that's her trigger. So when she says, I'm going all the way in with this, now I already know that she's going to give us like the back story of it. Yeah. So like you mentioned, if they can give each other a warning, like, okay, I'm getting to that point, or have an anchor to where their level of tolerance is reaching, and that the other person can respect that. I think that was like really very cool, because not a lot of people are able to, to have that as an awareness to actually apply.
Absolutely. And building on that, I would say it is awareness. It is about being conscious, because so often what happens is we'll get like this emotion that comes up and it's rage. And rather than take that breath and be like, you know what? Just step into my own, or I need to get a break, I need to get out of here. We just jump on that bandwagon. And it's like, we are not our emotions. It's about cultivating that. And I teach people this, like how they can find the space between and recognize it and almost like become like a witness to it. So it's like, yes, the acting's happening, but it's happening inside of you. And you don't necessarily have to be the actor. You don't have to jump into that, that playwright. You can actually just witness it and just allow it to go through you rather than react.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love
you
that.
mentioned earlier about like coming from a place of love, which is very important, because that's exactly what Gandhi talked about. So instead of people physically fighting each other, because Gandhi was a warrior of another kind, so he showed compassion and love even for those people that treated him bad. and he was able to live that life in that way. Is that kind of like when you talk about love in that way? Is it kind of like that?
Absolutely. The thing that people don't realize about love is they think that it's contingent on somebody else. That,
Hmm.
oh, okay, this person, I love them and they make my life complete. But we are love. We are derived from love and we are love. And so when you are that, it's almost like a perfume that comes from you. And it doesn't matter who comes across your path, whether it's somebody who's nice or somebody who's mean, you just love. You just are love. And you look at everyone and you can see the eyes of the creator. You can see that in every person who crosses your path. And so when you're triggered, it's like, oh, okay, I have to learn something here. There's something that I haven't resolved because it's all happening within you. It has nothing to do with them. And I think that that's really what Gandhi was speaking to and what I live my life by, that they are our teachers and love is transmutational. And when you're in that, there's no place for fear or hate or anything. It's just love.
Yeah. And I think
Yes.
that's really a lot of where it comes from, that triggers the other emotions, including the anger, is really the fear. And it is an energy that is overriding. And we've seen it more even during a pandemic like this. I mean, yes, we're not discounting or decreasing, the effect of it, but the response, it's like people almost thinking they're dying right this minute. And if they are dying, they're so afraid of it.
Yeah.
And which is something that we're going to face, whether it is on this timeline or that timeline or whatever is our time is up, it's going to be at one point. So it's just, I think once we face those fears, all this unfolds to more courage, more love, more kindness, and it just dissolves all these doubts and anger and everything else that comes because of the fear as a base.
True.
Yep. Yep. I know that was one of the things that some of the greatest samurai, because I'm half Japanese and my mom comes from Japan. So some of the greatest samurai even mentions that when we accept our own death, when we accept death and that it's going to happen, only then can we truly live.
Amen. I
And
I so believe that. I think if I could just install this message in everybody's DNA cellular memory for forever, eternal, I think that would be one thing that I would be so happy that of understanding. And I'm not going to say it's fun, and I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to be so happy that I lost my mom, I lost my furry baby that I'm so in love with. I'm not going to say if somebody close to me passed away and that it's easy. No, it's just having to dealing to accept that, to understand it, to respect it, to respect that. And once we are in that space, we operate and function more whole and complete in our original form of what we're really truly meant to be. And that's why you find, I don't mean to bring her up again, but it just happened that her sister-in-law, Miss Pat Rogers, passed away 5 days ago. And I was looking on social media. Now we had a webinar to do today. And I was thinking, maybe that's going to change because you have a death in a family. She had to drive all the way there. I tell you, she's like, we're celebrating her life and she's going to the Lord. Like, the psychology of these people, when you see, you see that there's so much faith in their spirit that gives them so much strength and solid grounds that they're standing on, that even that, and you know what, in 3 days she's back functioning fully on social media. And I know that doesn't mean that you're okay or normal and you're not sad. I just know that you respect that this is only a journey, it's temporary, and at one point things will happen, and you're going to surrender to divine will and respect that and do the best you can while you're still breathing and do the part you're meant to serve and so forth. And I think this is really a very, very amazing and great lesson that you share, Bob, and many others. But the idea is that once we really understand it and in our heart truly receive it and accept it, and then we would be more free in our path and in our walk of life. Much better.
Mm.
So, Cynthia, going back to the aspect of love, how much is love to ourselves a factor in when we have love for others?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a great question because as we can love ourselves completely, then we recognize we're one. And our love for ourselves spills over into everything and everyone. And then when another loves us, we can fully accept it. And it just transforms. It's the ultimate goal is just to have an all-encompassing love with no conditions. And I think that just so many of us, if we could just cultivate that within ourselves, then everything else around us, we wouldn't be triggered. We'd be so much happier. We would just have a different world, a more
Mhm.
accepting, beautiful society where love is supreme, where the love of power is triumphed by the power of love.
Amen to that. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Amen.
Cool. And then I
So,
want to know a little bit about you facilitate masterminds,
Yeah.
right? Like groups.
That's right. Yeah, I love it. Because I feel like there's experts in all of us and giving people a voice. Like a lot of times, we go through life and we don't even realize how much we've been mitigated, we've been silenced, we've been suppressed, we've suppressed ourselves. And this is like truly a platform where people are like this, where we're just able to feed off each other and come up with these great
mhm,
ideas. And it's just all about having that unity in the community and rising to that next level. And so I was doing a lot of mastermind retreats before this quarantine. So now it's taken a different form. It's like, all right, let's go
mhm,
virtual.
mhm.
But it's still a tremendous journey inward and, with the community as a whole. So it's
I mean, I could imagine if we didn't have our technology, truly, with a quarantine, imagine how blessed we are to really, really have this connection right this minute
yes.
during quarantine.
Oh,
And me and you
Yeah,
and Bob, Cynthia, literally, this is our first time on air together
wow.
during quarantine.
yeah.
So maybe if, because.
Oh no. Okay. We were together. And
Okay,
even
Sofie.
stopper.
Sofie, come back. Oh, she's back. She's back.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, you're
I
like,
mean, literally,
Wow.
we were talking
together. He's taken out. I'm like, what is
Now,
going
listen,
on?
this is to show us the value of technology so we can appreciate it more. Like, stay, don't go.
No.
Yeah, the truth
Okay.
is that many people, because of the quarantine, were transitioning online more. And I'm seeing a lot new faces in a different
Yeah.
performance, and some people I knew that are transitioning into this new way of, which is going to always be helpful, because think about it, even after a while things are not going to stay like this forever. I mean, it's not realistic. Okay, people are going to, they just reopened Florida. I'm driving in my car and it's like this in the restaurant. There is no parking space. People are like desperately wanting to be connected. I'm not saying that's smart to do right now, but I'm not just, I'm just saying that people have this inside of them, that people need people, right? And they always want to be around each other and socialize and laugh together and cry to each other, whatever the case may be. At one point, those things are going to go back, and we're going to have those live retreats and workshops and all these things. I mean, Delta in June, my brother is a travel expert, and I see on his wall with the Travel Box International that they're starting to open a lot more airports international than they did. So we're seeing a progress already happening. But what the good news is, we got to meet you today, Cynthia, during
Yes.
quarantine. And there's many other people who are dealing with that, and they're performing online, which is always going to give them more traffic than they would have just did before, because now you're global. And now, even if you had a workshop here today with your regular way of doing things, now you can also facilitate that same thing again, more global, because your presence online is recognized and people are aware that you are offering those kind of services, and they want to reach out and they want to be part of that. So I think that, to everything that we deal, every adversity has a gift to teach us. Like Marcus Elias's book, The Gift of Adversity, and his story is so true, because we do have a gift, and part of the gift is actually a lot of us got to meet each other and get closer to one another on a closer level from home. You're in my home space right now.
Feel at home,
Yeah.
Dr. Stone. There you go.
So, Cynthia, piggybacking on what Sofie said, do you plan on having what is now known as a hybrid training, which means having a live in-person training combined with streaming technology to maybe people who want to participate, but they're in other parts of the country or world or whatever that can't come?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Like it has completely opened up a new door, a new world that I didn't even know really existed. Like we knew about Zoom, but now everybody's on Zoom. It's amazing. Our StreamYard and all these amazing new technologies are coming out. We're able to connect like we've never connected before. I love the fact that they told us to physically distance, but that doesn't mean that we have to social distance. And here we are. We like no distance. Distance isn't an issue. We're having like a real-time conversation in different parts of the world, from Canada to the US. Like it's amazing. And I just truly love that. I feel like, yes, a whole new world has opened up. And I'm hearing now from people that I've never even, was reaching out to before. I'm really excited. And I definitely do think, there's so many more opportunities now. I'm all about, they say go with the flow, but I want to grow with the flow, just really stand and spread my wings and fly.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is great. I love the incorporation of technology. I still love doing trainings in person. I love to speak in person. I love the feel of the audience. But if I can bring technology and stream the events and being able to connect with somebody, let's say in a UK or Australia or in Asia somewhere or down in South America, while still training my audience in person. That's powerful. Yeah.
That's right. Limitless.
Limitless.
And
Exactly.
a few people actually used to do that in some of their trainings, and now not a lot of people adapted to this transition, but it's really a very wise adaptation. And it's actually, you would think, how did I not think of this before?
Yeah.
Why did I do that before?
I tell you.
Yep. So this is a different time, and you also, as an actress, you can create your own shows if you want and stream it as well, like that.
Exactly.
Have
It's really neat because so often we're like, going with somebody else's plan. Like they have their destination plugged in the GPS and you're just a passenger. But now you're in the driver's seats. Like you're just like, you know what? This is my opportunity. Like I have this time. I can write the script that I've been wanting to do. I can do this, all these like projects that were
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the number one podcast in the world is Joe Rogan. You heard of Joe Rogan?
Who? No, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. See, Joe Rogan, he's on YouTube, he's on iTunes and everything else like that. He has his own show. He just got offered a deal to go exclusively by the end of this year onto Spotify.
Wow.
For $100 million.
Wow.
That's all.
Taking his.
Is that your phone number?
Taking his.
That's what we're going to pay you.
That's a podcast. Things are shifting.
Wow.
Things are shifting, and creating your own shows. And here you are doing what you're doing as an actress. And can you imagine that kind of shift with technology? This is these are the kind of numbers that even like major studios are not going to offer their actors like $100 million to do something or whatever. And here he is, just and he has complete control of the content as well.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
He can do it in his pajamas. He can be quarantined.
Yeah.
Carol, like that's the That's the crazy part of it. It's like we've discovered, like, I hear from a lot of these great transformational speakers. I think it was Les Brown the other day. He was saying, he's like, as much as I love traveling, I don't. And I like the fact that I can do this live from my computer. I'm just talking to the computer. You're listening to me, and I don't have to worry about all that. And it's like, it's easier, it's seamless, and you can still have your creativity pour out of you. It's just in a different format.
Yes.
So I like the integration. I like being open to both, because like, there's something so special about how human touch is and how it affects our biology and psychology and chemistry all together. So I really believe that if you can't, then do the next best thing that is out there that you are able to.
Yes.
Well,
if I had a choice to meet everybody that's on stream in person, I personally would have said I would love to meet them in person in normal conditions, right? But other than that, then what's the next thing best to have? And then the second best is always going to be your backup plan in the future anyways.
True.
Yep. And technology is only going to get better. So I think, again, going to the hybrid way of doing things, in person and streaming, and then eventually streaming with 3D technology, so it'll look like you're also, your body's in somebody else's place in another part of the world, or something like that. It's just, we haven't even touched what technology is going to be, and then us being able to express ourselves as who we are, that best version. And I got Branda Lee says, I agree with you, Sofie. She says, I agree with you.
Her birthday was just a few days ago, and I hope that she's continuing to celebrate.
Yep.
Yes. Hugs and hearts. She gets hugs and hearts on this show. See?
So yeah, this is, what was whose question? My question?
Branda Lee.
No, she says, I agree with you, Sofie, dear heart.
Oh. Got it. So Cynthia, tell us, what is your favorite quote and why?
I love the one from Samson Raphael Hirsch, which says, one glorious chain of love, of giving and receiving, unites all creatures.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
And the giving and receiving part is really what really would unite them, and that's the key and very, very effective way of explaining it. So that's awesome. Yay. And we love you, Cynthia.
Oh, I love you guys.
Yes. So Cynthia, because we're coming towards the end here, and what is the best way for people to get a hold of you if they want to hire you, either as a speaker, or if they need your coaching services, or otherwise, or even somebody's looking for an actress that has that comedy sense about her?
Absolutely. I can be reached at Cynthia360.com. That's Cynthia360.com. And that has everything. It's a one-stop shop, because I was like, I don't want to have a website for this and that and everything. So it's just all there, all in one place.
Cynthia360.com. So if you can put it down after we get off, just make sure you put it down in a comment section.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
There we go. Awesome.
And yeah, so people will be saying, well, we want Cynthia. We have a project coming up, a movie project, or that'd be pretty cool.
She's very diversified, and therefore that's really beautiful. So you have a lot of areas that you can serve at, that you're passionate about, and also that you're good at.
Well, that helped. Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, nobody told her that she sucked. Yeah, if the world didn't suck, it won't fall off. So there you go.
And by the way, Chicago, second city.
So what are some 3 tips during these times that we're facing for those who might be anxious or nervous dealing with even the, we're reopening now a little bit, and some people are having a hard time transitioning to the reopening because they're so scared they might, get sick. And regardless, like that, what would you tell, what's a good advice or 3 tips that you would give our audience to have that they can really feel better about?
Absolutely. I would say to recognize that your natural state is love and inner peace. So when you're in that good spirit, you know that you're in the zone. But if you find that you're being pulled into fear or negativity, that means that you have to draw your awareness back to the present moment and recognize that that's all there is. That you can like sit there and look at the past, at what's happened, and fill your mind with the news, or you can look to the future and awfulize and go into all kinds of fear, or you can just be right here, right now, and recognize that that's the only thing that's real. And the way I do it is I anchor myself by breath. And what you do is you take in a deep breath through your nose, and then you breathe out twice as long with your mouth. And by doing that, it's actually a physiological technique that will bring heat to your hands, to your feet, and will change your state. And I'm all about change your state to change your fate. Another thing would be to stop treating your mind like a garbage bin. Because a lot of times what happens is we accumulate. We are what we consume. And so if you're constantly watching the news, you are being pumped with fear. Like CNN, they call constant negative news. And not to pick on them, but it's just the idea that, yes, it's good to be informed. I totally get it. But you have to watch the level, the amount that you're consuming. Because as you take in, so you give out.
I like that because when you said that, you can have news overdose.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm an addictions counselor.
You said the amount that you're consuming, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna overdose on bad news.
Exactly. They're like, and they start spouting it out. And you see it. Well, that's going to be diagnosis and the DSM. Watch it. They're going to be like news overload, and they're going to be like,
exactly. And here's the thing: the news today are really entertainment entities, not like if you go back many years ago when it was just like straight news, where they're reporting facts and everything like that. All news are entertainment entities, and it's just crazy. So
talking heads.
Talking heads. So what are you going to consume? Well, you can like read some books or something like that, something that feed your mind with some positive stuff, or take a course or something like that. So if you're offering a course there, Cynthia, people can come to that.
Absolutely.
Training, maybe online.
Yeah, I got a free gift I can give them, and that helps. It will help them break through some limiting beliefs. I can give you the link for that, and they can go on there and do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so go ahead and put that down in the comments so people can go there and grab it.
Is that the chat? The live comments? Okay, here we go. I'm learning. Oh, cool. Look at that. Wow.
Yep.
Wait, I have to log in. All right. I know. This is my first time on StreamYard, so bear with me, folks. This is pretty cool, though.
Welcome to StreamYard. This is
well, I don't know if yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And recognize, too. So the third thing would be to recognize that you are already a winner. You beat out all these other sperm to come here on this earth. Like, come on now. You were born a winner. And
we be strong.
That's right. You are Captain Sperm. And you could have been like, the child that gave up, you tried to walk a bunch of times, fell on your face. But instead, you got up there, you started walking, you haven't stopped. So celebrate that now. There are a lot of reasons to celebrate. You opened 2 gifts this morning, your eyes. Come on now. You got to tap into your gratitude. Attitude is the best. Gratitude is the best attitude. That's right. So you got to win with a grin. And if you find yourself stuck in this then just switch it up. If you smile and then say, I'm angry, it's not going to work. Try it. angry.
That's true. That's
Yeah, see,
true.
so there you go. Some techniques, some tips, some tricks. There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
You know, we
You're a
are
winner.
both co-founders of the Laughter Mindset program, Cynthia. And our one of the reasons is truly that you cannot be angry and laugh at the same time.
That's
And
true.
we really, really want more people to be in that space of joy and laughter and spread more of that around. And it's just such a pleasure laughing with you today.
Yay!
Yes.
I feel the same way. It's the best medicine. It really is. And that's
Yes.
soccer.
Blessings. Yes, yes. We need to have you on our Laughter Mindset show as well. So
Oh, I would love that.
be ready for that
Yep.
one.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank you for having been here and been part of this adventure today. It was really great. I mean, this has been fun.
Yeah,
Lots of fun.
I enjoyed
Mhm.
myself. You guys are great.
Yes.
It's very refreshing to have such a beautiful, bright, and joyous soul, and spreading love and humor and full of light and full of life.
Mhm.
Because when you're living, you're breathing. Please, let's enjoy this and be so grateful for it. You find so many people, they're walking dead. I mean, it's not that way. It's not supposed to be that way.
No, it really isn't.
So
That's
yes,
so
keep
true.
spreading
Live
your
it.
joy.
Lie.
Spread your
Yes.
joy.
That's right.
And by the way, Brandley said, love, love, love it.
Yay!
Aw. We love you more. We love you more.
And blessings to you all for sharing your spiritual gifts and wisdom from Brandley as well.
Blessings. Thank you, Brandley, as you are. And Brandley is actually getting her Reiki Master certification, and she is a light worker, and
Love
she
it.
really comes from the heart and loves to be in service. And we're very proud to have her in our community. And we are so grateful for all our audience and their ongoing support, and also meeting beautiful people and souls like you, and all these great information and insights that you share with our audience, and help everybody grow with the flow.
And okay, before we sign out, I want to tell everybody, if you're watching this on YouTube, because this is streaming on YouTube, make sure that you go down, hit the subscribe button, and then the like button if you like the show. So let's give it a positive thumbs up.
Yes. Subscribe.
Yes.
Blessings.
Blessings. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.